Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, peace be upon us all. And first of all, dear to Miss Umi Widyasuti and dear to first supervisor, Mr. Henry Arianto, and second supervisor is Prof. Ketut Ersudiardita, and dear to my proposal examiner lecture. Before we start the presentation, and I will introduce myself. I am Anggriawan Oktobisono, and I'm the student of Master of Management of Faculty of Economic in the State University of Jakarta or Universitas Negeri Jakarta. And I will present our research, and the title from our research is Training, the effect of training and competencies on performance through motivation at PT Triputra Agro Persada. And this is me and my supervisor, Prof. Dr. Henry Arianto, MM, and Prof. Dr. Ketut Ersudiardita as a supervisor, the second supervisor. And the first of our presentation is chapter 1, is background of the problem. Okay, in the midst of increasingly fierce competition in the global era, companies must operate more efficiently and effectively. This limited competition encouraged the company to increase in competitiveness to ensure its survival. As an entity incorporating individuals known as employees or employees, the company is responsible for the implementation of production activities. Most companies have a primary goal, which is to maximize profits and add value while improving the welfare of owners and employees. Employees play a key role in determining the progress of the company. To achieve this goal, the company needs to have employees who meet the set requirements and have the ability to carry out predetermined tasks. And this make every member of institution or company participate in pursuing the direction and growth of the company, realizing the target desires, hopes, and dreams for the company that has the best performance. Companies are obligated to carry out business transformation to the root of the problems, and namely human resource or HR, in order to have reliable competencies according to the standards of the needs of institution or company and win the business competition with the best performance. And Indonesia is the country with the largest palm oil industry in the world, with the production of 52 million tons of crude palm oil or CPO. As the world's largest palm oil producer, the palm oil industry has provided employment for 16 million people and playing a strategic role in Indonesian economic development. In line with what was offered by Ms. Daliva, Deputy for Food and Agribusiness Coordination of the Coordinating Ministry of Economic Affairs, the Indonesia palm oil industry has absorbed as many as 16.2 million direct and indirect workers. The Oil Palm Plantation Human Resource Program is an important part of effort to realize a sustainable palm oil industry because 30 to 40% of unproductive crops can no longer be harvested. So it requires a workforce that can manage and regrow in a more sophisticated and modern way and overcome limited human resource so that this plantation can be managed in a more modern way and must overcome limitation than human resource or human resource. And this is for the area for palm oil in Indonesia at the end of 2022. And the result of the table above, it can be explained that the Central Statistic Agency, or we call it BPS, with the title Indonesia Oil Palm Statistic to 2022 in Indonesia, there is an area of hectares owned by oil palm amounting to 16 hectare area. According to the last data, the total number of oil palm farmers in Indonesia has just exceeded 2.65 million. Well, workers or laborers are estimated at 4.5 million people who earn income in oil palm plantation, including commercial and state-owned enterprise. So, from the data above, it can be seen that there is still a lack of workers who are prepared to manage the entire oil palm, considering the importance of human resource. It is very important to manage human resource effectively to improve company performance and efficiency. This function is commonly referred to as human resource management and corporation. As explained by Colquitt et al., there are several factors that affect individual results or dependent variables, such as employee performance and organizational commitment, namely organizational mechanism, such as organizational culture and organizational structure. And there is group mechanism, such as leadership and team, and individual characteristics, such as abilities and personalities and cultural values, with the result is in individual mechanisms such as a job satisfaction, work stress, motivation, trust, and decision making. So it is said that training and competence can turn into the ability of an employee that affects motivation and produce employee performance itself, where the cognitive ability of a person has a strong correlation to employee performance compared to organizational commitment, which has a low level of correlation. PT Triputra Agro Persada, or we call it PT TAP, is one of the largest oil palm plantation companies in Indonesia. PT TAP has been listed on the Singapore Stock Exchange since 2012 under the name TAP produce crude palm oil and palm kernel oil, or PKO, until 2023. TPA has 80 palm oil mills, or PKs, in the provinces in Indonesia like Kalimantan, Jambi, and West Java, with an area for 159 hectare area and more than 15,000 employees, where one area cover 1,500 hectare area with the number of employees reaching like 500 or 800. The result of the performance appraisal of PTTPA can be seen from the table above. We show that some employees still need improvement to achieve performance in ME or meeting expectation. From the data above, especially in the field assistant section, it is known that there are still many employees who still have not achieved performance by 54%, or a total of 81 people, which is an increase in employee who need performance improvement from 2022 and 2023 from the number of field assistants mentioned above. The workers are divided into 3 grades, namely grade A, grade B, and C employees. Grade A employees are employees who have exceeded expectation and extraordinary achievement, and grade B employees who have met expectation, and grade C employees who have not been assessed and who need improvement. And the following are the results of initial survey on pre-survey conducted by research to 30 employees at PT Triputra Agro Persada TAP in the field assistant section as follow, like training, and from that the data above is known that 26 respondents agreed that the training material provided was in accordance with the needs of the job, and the level of accuracy of the training method, but in accordance with delivery of the material, had a percentage of 70% 50% or 21 people agreed. Meanwhile, employee skill and abilities must be improved again because 21 respondents or 70% state that they still do not meet the skill and abilities that have been given. And the competency pre-survey, it is known that there are still 80 respondents who have not fulfilled their duties, and the level of employee accuracy in carrying out must be increased because there are 70 respondents who have not been careful in their work, while the completion of tasks or tasks exceeded the target were several employees who had exceeded the specified target of 10 respondents. And the perceiver of motivation, is it known that 60 respondents consistent with the work given and the level of enthusiasm for high achievement is still lacking because of 11 people want to have high achievement. Well, the initiative of employee with the number of approving 43% or 13 respondent and 17 respondents who do not have sense of initiative in doing their work. So one way to improve employees is to conduct employee training and motivation and competence. The impact of training competency and motivation on employee performance has a crucial role in the context of human resource development in the modern work environment. The research is rooted in the understanding that modern companies are faced with increasingly complex challenges which require employees to constantly update their skill and knowledge. So the novelty of this study is where there is a theoretical gap for researchers to develop this research, and there are still not many studies that explain how training and competence affect performance through the motivation. And through this background explanation, this study aimed to fill knowledge to fill knowledge gaps related to the relationship between training, competence, motivation, and employee performance. With a deeper understanding of these dynamics, it is expected that companies can design more effective HR development strategies to improve employee performance and overall make a positive contribution to the achievement of company goals. Based on the problem described above, it can be concluded that the problem that affect employee performance are training and competencies that have not been met and lack of motivation. Of all the problems that affect employee performance, researchers limit certain problems so that researchers are interested in conducting research terms of training and competency on PT Triputra Agro Persada employee performance through motivation variable as mediation variables. And this is the formulation problem. Does training have an affect employee motivation of PT Triputra Agro Persada? And promotion problem. And number 2, like, does competency influence employee motivation at PT TAP? And 3, does training affect the performance of employee PT TAP? Does competency influence the performance of PT TAP? Does motivation influence the performance of PT TAP? Does training have an effect on performance through employee motivation at PT TAP? And the last, or the 7th, does competency influence performance through the employee motivation? And from the formulation problem, we now have to search the research purpose. And the first research purpose is like to find out and analyze the effect of training and employee motivation. And purpose number 2, to find out that analyze the influence of competency on employee motivation. And third, to find out and analyze the effect on training on the performance of PT TAP. To find out and analyze the influence of competency on the performance. Number 5, to find out and analyze the influence of motivation on the performance. Number 6, to find out and analyze the effect of training on performance from employee motivation, and to find out and analyze the influence competence on performance through employee motivation. And this is the benefit of research. There is 2 benefits of research, and the first of all is theoretical benefit. And this is the increase understanding of the relationship between training and competence with employee performance. This research can provide empirical evidence of the importance of training and competency development to improve the performance of PTTAP and provide information to companies about factors that affect employee performance so that it can be used as a reference in planning HR development strategies. And practical benefit is to provide recommendation for companies to improve the effectiveness of employee training and development programs. Based on the result of the study, companies can find out what factors need to be considered in design effective training. Further improvement of employee competence by knowing the relationship between training and competence with employee performance. Employees can also understand the importance of competency development as an effort to improve self-performance and contribute to the development of theory and knowledge in the field of human resource management. This research can be a reference for the other researchers who want to develop similar research or dig deeper into the topic, which is a better understanding of the effect of training and competence on employee performance. Is it expected that companies can carry out more effective strategies in improving employees' performance and increasing the company competitive advantage? Next is chapter 2, the theoretical basis or theoretical theory. The employee performance, and Edinson say that, or according to Edinson, performance and the meaning of performance is the result of a process that refers to an in measure over a certain period based on condition, standard, or agreement that have been previously set. One of the factors that can encourage employee performance is a person expertise or knowledge in the form of training and competencies that company provides to employee to increase their effectiveness in developing careers to reach the best position within the company. According to Rifai from Kasmawati, performance is an achievement achieved by a person in carrying out his work according to the standard and criteria set for the job. And from Hasibuan, performance is the result of work achieved by a person is carrying out the task given to him, which is based on experience, skill, and sincerity of time measured by taking into account aspects such as quality, quantity, and punctuality. And from Hasibuan, and according to Hasibuan, performance is the result of work achieved by a person in carrying out the task given to him, which is based on experience, skill, and sincerity of time measured by taking into account aspects such as quality, quantity, and punctuality. And based on the opinion of the expert above, and we can synthesize to conceptual definition that performance is the main factor in achieving the progress and goals of a company that will be achieved by an employee in carrying out his duties in accordance with the responsibilities given to him by considering quantity, quality, and timelines. And this is employee performance indicator, and we have 5 dimensions from Mangkunegara, and there is 10 indicator, and code of indicator, we call it KK, from KK1 to KK2, KK10, sorry. And training variable, and according to Matis in Gareka, training is a process in which individuals develop the ability to achieve organizational goals. This process is related to the vision, mission, and goals of the organization. As for training, it can be regarded as a supporting variable. Narrowly, training is defined as an effort made to prepare employees to have special knowledge and skill that they can apply when working. Meanwhile, according to Rifai and Segala, training is a systematic process that changes employee behavior in order to achieve organizational goals. Training relates to the ability and skill employees in performing current work that training can also be interpreted as a short learning process using structure and organized procedure during which non-managerial employees acquire the technical knowledge and skill for a specific purpose. In agreement with the above opinion, Sukmawati explained that training is a series of processes that involve action deliberately carried out by professional trainers in the form of assistance provided to worker per unit and worker per unit time with the aim of improving work ability and in some case organizational efficiency and work productivity. And based on the concept above, and we can call it that conceptual definition, it can be synthesized that training is a process of employee learning about knowledge, skill, and behavior related to work and in activity that must be carried out for employee self-development in order to be able to produce better work in improving employee performance for the growth and success of the organization. And this is the training indicator. And we have 5 dimensions like instructor, like method, like purpose, and all. And we take the reference from this letter, and we have like 10 indicators to make data analyze and to make a questionnaire. Competence, variable, and maybe the definition of competence. According to Spencer, competence is an underlying characteristic of a person that relates to the effectiveness of individual performance in his work or individual characteristics that have a causal basis or reference criteria caution, effective or superior performance at work or in certain situations. Furthermore, Silalahi say that competence as a set of ability that a person has to perform work based on criteria set out in the requirements, using knowledge, skill, and attitudes such as analytical skill and synthesis system that are appropriate to technological demands. And according to Wirawan, human resource competencies are the traits of knowledge, skill, behavior, and experience that people need to perform certain profession or role effectively. Competence is a set of attitude, knowledge, behavior, and skill that enable a person to perform a task with the best result. And the definition, the conceptual definition of the competence, or maybe we can synthesize that capacity of competence is the capacity of individuals to complete a task correctly and have benefit based on knowledge, ability, and attitudes in order to achieve effectiveness in the performance provided. Competencies are important in achieving individual and organizational performance. Competencies include inherent knowledge, skill, attitude, and value that are reflected in the consistency of one thoughts and action. If employees have good competence, they will work well in completing their duties, thus affecting their performance and achieving desired goals. And this is the competency indicator, and we have 3 dimensions from Hutapea and Toha. And the first dimension is skill, the second is knowledge, and the third is attitude. And we have 10 indicators and we call it K1 to K10. And last, the motivation variable. Motivation is, according to Maslow, state that motivation is the profession of driving force that creates excitement in someone's work so that they will work together, work effectively, and integrate with all their effort to achieve a satisfaction at work. Furthermore, Andika explained that motivation is one thing that affects human behavior. Motivation is a call, a driver, a desire, supporter, or a need that can make a patient excited and motivated to reduce a fulfill one's own impulsive. And according to Pace and Patiru, motivation is crucial for employees so that the work that has been charged can be carried out as it should be according to the company operational standards. And motivation is the force that allows a person to act toward a specific goals. This motivation is like determining outcomes such as productivity, performance, and preference. And furthermore, according to Hasibuan, work motivation is a driver that creates a person work enthusiasm so that they want to work together, work effectively, and integrate with all its efforts to achieve satisfaction. And Robin and George define motivation as a process that describes the intensity, direction, and provision of a condition that moves human towards a specific goal in line with specific goals. And from the opinion of the expert above, we can have the definition or conceptual definition, and we can synthesize that employee work motivation is the profession of driving force that creates excitement in someone's work so that they will work together, work effectively, and integrate with all the effort to achieve satisfaction at work. One at the things that can influence human behavior as a driver to act and do something to achieve optimal targets in achieving effective and satisfying work. And this is the work motivation indicator and the reference from Abraham Maslow. And we have 5 dimensions like physiologist needs, like social need, and all. And we have 10 indicators from MQ1 and to make MQ10. This is our hypothesis framework. And the training is X1 and competency is X2, motivation is Z, and employee performance is variable Y. And from the hypothesis framework, we can to know that we have to search the research hypothesis, and the research hypothesis from this research is from hypothesis 1 is training influence the work motivation of PT-TAP employees. Second hypothesis is competency influence training the PT-TAP employees. The third hypothesis that training influence the performance of PT-TAP employees. The fourth hypothesis is competency influence that is performance of PT-TAP employees. And the fifth hypothesis is motivation influence the performance of PT-TAP employees. And the sixth hypothesis is training influence employee performance through motivation on PT-TAP employees. And the last is the seventh hypothesis that competency influence employee performance through motivation at PT-TAP employees. And the chapter 3, the research methodology. The object of research is a condition that describe or explain that the state of the object under the study so that a clear picture of research obtained, and the object of research is someone who observed by the researchers through observation, understanding, question, and answer about the problem being studied by the research. The object of this research in the field expert operational staff at PT-TAP Persada, PT Triputra Agro Persada, totaling like 148 respondents with research time from January 2024 to May 2024. And the population is a complete set of items, which are usually things that transaction or even that we are interested in researching or a subject of research. Based on the problem to the study, the accessible population is numbered like 812 people. A sample is the part of the population that is intended to represent the study so that the data collected from the sample is truly representative. Appropriate sample selection strategies are needed to create samples that accurately represent population characteristics. A well-selected sample can represent information for the entire population, and purposive sampling is used in file assistant at PT TAP to ensure even distribution of sample throughout the work unit. And Sugiono said that define purpose sampling as a strategy that requires certain consideration. The author took sample based on field observation from the operational staff at PT Triputra Agro Persada. Total like 148 respondents. The purpose of the analysis of the data collected in this study is obtain information and make appropriate conclusion. To achieve this goal, the data must be analyzed according to research objective and to the test hypothesis that we have been made. To conduct the analysis, the study used the Amos partial structure experiment model, Sam Amos approach. This technique was chosen because it just research predict and explain latent variable rather than testing theories. And sample is not too large. The study analyzed the data using validity test, rehabilitation test, and hypothesis test with Sam Amos on 3 variable or 4 variable. The formation of latent variable in the study is all reflective, which means that all 3 latent variable affect the indicator. Maybe this is the last of my presentation, and thank you.